Greetings, unsettled souls. Hey, everything is quite unsettled today, to put it mildly. This is the Dunce Cap of the Month Award Show. I am your host of the Correct Views. And friends, normally, as you know, the Dunce Cap of the Month Award tends to be a bit more jovial and silly. But unfortunately today, the level of duncedom that we are seeing in our country, and I don't know if it's a word, but I've made it one. The level of duncedom that we are seeing, duncedom is just dumb. There you go. And before I get into this, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, I am happy that the officer who killed Mr. Floyd is going to be facing charges and likely going to prison for killing a man by slow torture for 7 to 10 minutes in the middle of a Minneapolis street. I want to make it definitely clear here. I am happy that he's going to face charges for what he did. It wasn't something minor by any stretch of the imagination, and I am happy that he's going to be in front of a judge. From what I hear, he's on suicide watch tonight, and his wife is divorcing him over his actions. I also want to mention that Stull, Stull, I suggest you look him up online, not just for political action, but also for a number of other things. He's an entertainer. He's knee-deep in video games, technologies, and streaming, and he's got a number of things going on. Shout out to Ryan Stull. Him and I, we do not always agree politically, but on the essentials, we agree. And when he went, he hosted the protests in Akron, Ohio. Now, I was at the Canton, Ohio protest. There's video on my Facebook page. A flashbang went off beside me. I don't think that was needed because in downtown where I was, there was yelling and protesting, but there wasn't anybody actually doing anything. Although I did hear that it ventured the city and it needed to be shut down. I understand that. However, I don't know that what was done in downtown Canton was necessarily needed. However, there are a couple things that people are not understanding here, and I'm going to talk about both sides because I'm nothing if not fair. And I think that's one of the reasons why Ryan gave me the honor of going with him, because he knew that I'm fair, he knows that I'm honest, and he knew that I was certainly going to film everything he did, which I did. I didn't let anybody talk to him or get near him without him being on camera, so that nobody could say that he said or did something that he did not say or do, because like myself, he is a man of peace. And I'm saying this because this is the Dunce Cap of the Month Award Show, and at both protests, I have to say two things. I heard either some of the most intelligent, well-spoken individuals that anybody, and I heard some of the most asinine, stupid things I've ever heard in my whole life. The intelligent things, particularly, again, came from Ryan. That's why he hosted this, saying that we don't know, and he's a black man. We don't know if what the officer did was based on race. Let me say that again for those of you that might have missed it. We do not know that what the officer did was based on race. Was it excessive? Was it police brutality? Was it murder? Yes, it certainly seems to be, without a doubt. Certainly seems to be. But that's different from claiming that it's racism. This inherent racism that people like to talk about. I'm sorry, for the vast majority of white people, there is no white privilege and there is no vast dislike of black people. That is a myth. What we do have is a history of police abusing power to all people. And that is exactly why the system, people like George Soros, want to divide us based on our color. Because if we realize that we are all being hosed equally, I'm going to say it again, being hosed equally, regardless of skin tone, then we could actually band together and stop some of this. And I'm going to get to it at the end of my intro here, so don't zone out. I have a remarkable idea that could change a lot of things if people would unify. It's not that hard either. But we know that he was abusing his power, but we don't know that it was based on race. This is an assumption, and we all know assuming. Never assume, because you make an ass out of you and me. We do know that it is being sold as a race issue. And I'm going to address how we can prove that we're all being hosed here. There were 40 people, I think this was on stats.com. There were, let me see to make sure I'm reading this right. Yes. There were 40 people who were murdered in 2019 by the police officers, law enforcement, who was not armed. They were not armed, I should say. You want to know what the breakdown of the numbers were? Breakdown of the numbers were 19 of them were white, 9 of them were black, 9 of them were Latino, and the remaining 2 were other. That means that, contrary to the popular narrative, an unarmed white man is still more likely to be killed by the police than an unarmed black man. Do you want another stat from stats.com? Because I've got a number of them here. An unarmed black man, or a black criminal in general, is more likely to be killed by a fellow black officer than a white officer. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's very easy to look up what I'm telling you. It's not very difficult. I didn't suddenly go to rocket science school and learn how to do all of this. You can look up what I'm saying. These are all true. These are all facts. It is also a fact that a vast majority, I heard somebody at the protest say 2 things that really frustrated me. Besides people calling for looting, which I heard in Canton. You can hear it on the video that I shot of the protest. It's on my Facebook page. Correct views. One of the things that they said was that black people make up 10 to 13% of the population, but they make up upwards to 50% of those incarcerated. So I decided to do some research, and do you know what I found? I'll tell you. I found that the vast majority of black people who are in jail or prison are incarcerated due to crimes which they committed against other black people. Why is this never talked about? You always hear how many African Americans are incarcerated, but you don't often hear why. Well, the why is because they were committing crimes against other black people. Something else a lady said. She said that her son was an honor roll student and that he had perfect attendance, but that the only thing white America would see when they look at him is a young black man. That's not true. That simply is not true. And before all the white people up there start going, yeah, let me point out a few things that go the other way. Since, again, I say this all the time. My dad was Mexican, Italian, and Sicilian. That is not white. My mom was everything white. English, Irish, French, Welsh, and German. In other words, she had to wear sunscreen at the office Christmas party in Alaska. So I can see things from both sides. I've had people in my life not like me make jokes, comments because I've got Mexican in me. I've had people call me Cochise because I look like I may have Indian features. I've never been tested South American Indian, since most Mexicans are. And I've had people, both Irish, white, and Italian, sort of tell me that I'm not really Irish or I'm not really Italian because I'm not Catholic. I'm Christian, but I'm not Catholic. So I get it. I've experienced some of this. But let me point something out here real quick. White people, in many instances, say, oh, well, black people hate white people too. You hear it all the time. That is also BS. Yes, I have been jumped by black people before a couple of times, specifically because they thought I was white, which I guess for all intents and purposes I am white because I'm not as dark complected as my father was. Fair enough. And I don't care if you call me white. I don't care if you call me Mexican. I don't play that game. Call me whatever you want. Cuss at me if you want. It's called the First Amendment. Enjoy. Call me racist. He's racist. Call me whatever you want. It's the First Amendment. Enjoy. It's what it's there for. But white people who go that route are also wrong. Most black people are not racist against whites. Some of them are. The vast majority of white people are not in any way racist against white people. There is no inherent racism here. You don't see ads that say white people, hiring white people. You don't see ads that say opening, white person, $15 an hour, black people, $10 an hour. Do you want to know why that's not in the paper? Because that's not what we are. In many ways, we do live in a post-racial society. And the number of racists that we do have, regardless of who it is that they are hating, we will always have. They will never be eliminated because some people choose to hate. But that is not the vast majority of people. But I will say this. We are not honoring anybody who has died by burning down anything. And I've heard people say, you don't understand, break the system, break the system. You're not breaking the system. Let me tell you what you're breaking. You're breaking the bank account of people who work, for instance, at Target, which they burnt down. You want to know who works at Target? White people, black people, all people, also known as Americans. Americans who very likely were quarantined for the last 6 weeks and are delighted to even have a job. They were probably delighted to return to work at that Target store or any of the other countless stores, the Wendy's that was burnt down. They were probably delighted to return to work or that they even had a job either during the outbreak or after it. And now, do you know what? They don't have a job. And do you want to know why that is? Because a lot of idiots burn it down for the supposed good of Mr. Floyd. In other words, they used his blood as an excuse to burn things down. They used his blood as an excuse to go get a new TV. People broke into the CVS. What do you think they stole? Beer. Beer? That's how you get justice for somebody that was killed in the street by a scumbag cop. And that's what he was. That's how you get justice? By stealing beer. That is why I'm mentioning this on the Dunce Cap of the Month Award show. And that's why this show isn't as jovial as some of the other ones have been. Although I'm going to be talking about escaped goats later, so don't tune out. It does get funny. But listen to me, people. This is ridiculous. One more thing before I get to my solution to prove how ridiculous this really is. People are like, we can't let the police get away with this. Get away with it? The culprit, who, let's face it, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, but he's probably guilty. The culprit here, the scumbag cop, is in jail, facing third-degree murder charges, manslaughter. The officers that were with him are likely going to soon be arrested as the investigation goes on. Well, yeah, but it teaches us to rebel against Donald Trump because Orange Man bad. Orange Man bad. Orange Man is the reason that the investigation was fast-tracked to put the scumbag cop in jail. Is this understood here? Because I'm not entirely sure. I got a very important message. Give me 2 seconds. It is very obvious here that the president expedited, sped up the process. I'm pretty sure those are fireworks. We'll see. Sped up the process. I'm in Canton, Ohio, so it's a great place to die. When this show's over, I'm probably going to go film some other lunacy I heard going on, so who knows. But if I die, it's fine. Nobody cares. The issue here is Orange Man bad is the reason that we sped up the process of investigation into the scumbag cop. Now, what he's saying about looting, I have no problem with that. I'm sorry. I don't necessarily like that he did it by quoting something to which I don't think he knew the history of it. That wasn't exactly extremely responsible. But there's idiots on my Facebook feed saying property is not worth a human life. No, let me tell you something. I was a DJ at one club. I'd residency there for roughly 14 and a half years, and I was as close to full-time as you can get since Obamacare ruined the 40-hour work week. I was full-time for almost all of that, except for the year and a half to which I was working with Argus Media, and then sometimes I was only working 1 day a week, and I did take some time off. But for the most part, about 13 to 14 and a half years, depending on how you want to define it. I lost that job due to COVID-19 and other factors. But I just got a job driving Grubhub. I do still do freelance journalism. I do still do real estate photography. That's also driving. My car, the car I'm using because mine blew up, that's another story. My car is my business. It is what pays my rent. It is what pays for life. It is what I have. So the idea that someone is going to approach my car, they might find out what kind of gun I like. They might find out whether or not I'm a good shot. And how many of you have seen the meme with The Rock, and then you turn around and The Rock is looking at the girl in the back seat, and he says, it's a meme, you know what memes are. It says that if you shoot someone over your property, it proves that your property meant more than their life. And the reply was, if someone is trying to steal my property, then they are proving that my property means more than their life do. If you approach my car to loot it, to steal it, to damage it, or to hurt me, don't be surprised if you hear a boom like that. I'm sorry. Just don't be surprised. Okay, so I needed to get into that, and now I want to say quickly what my solution is. My solution is unity. Okay, that's my solution. There are flashbangs going off near my house, so I'm going to be I'm speeding this up. Fast track, Orange Man. Be speeding this up because I do want to go over and film that. But I want to say quickly that there's a way of unity to get around this. People talk about how often we're pulled over in cars over areas that are over policed, how we get tickets for nothing, how this affects our livelihood, our ability to pay rent, etc., etc. Okay, then let me offer this to you. What if we quit arguing about race? What if we all joined together and said, we are not paying any tickets? We're not paying any of them. We're not doing it. We're not. Well, then people say if you do that, then in time, they're going to arrest you. All right, fine. You know who they're going to arrest? They're going to arrest the worst offenders, the people that were slamming beer. That's who they're going to arrest. They can't arrest everyone. They don't have enough jail space. So let's say we could get 10 to 20, maybe 30% of the population to not pay your tickets, not buy your reinstatement fees, not get your licenses, and then keep driving. Don't buy car insurance. Keep driving. If they pull you over, you keep driving. They can't arrest everyone. Hold on one second. I do have to. Well, they can't arrest everyone. I have to step away for 1 second, and I really, really don't want to, but it is very important dealing with another matter. Do give me just 1 quick second here to deal with this rapidly. I will be right back. Do not tune out. All right, I told you not to tune out. I'm already back. Okay, so friends, the idea would be that if everyone said, no, I am not going to pay my car insurance. I'm not going to pay any of your tickets. I'm not going to pay any of your reinstatement fees. And then you just keep driving. If you've got 20 or 30% of the population doing this, they can't arrest all of them. They can only arrest those who are the biggest offenders. So before someone on my comment line says, what about somebody who had 50 beers and was driving around and mowed somebody over? That's who they're going to save jail space for. They can't jail everyone if 25% of the drivers in any one state decide they're not paying any of this crap anymore. But you want to know something? There's a better than average chance that we can't get that done, because that means that white people, black people, Asians, and everybody else would have to have enough unity to bring the system down, to not be given tickets in over-policed areas, to not have your pocketbook raped at the drop of a hat. That's the solution to this. Not arguing about race, not seeing how many beers you can steal out of a store and the new TV you can get on the blood of a dead man. That is not helpful. So if you want to know what helpful is, I just gave you helpful, friends. And I know that I've been talking for 23 minutes so far, so I'm going to get on to the rest of the show, and then I'm going to go see if those were fireworks. I'm assuming they were, because I don't hear any sirens. I do have someone that works in tandem with law enforcement in the house, and he's one of my sources. Do you have any information on what that was?
Not yet. I was on the process of checking to see what's going on, but they are literally blocking both and Fulton.
All right, so I'm on 3rd and Fulton, so I'm going to hurry this up so that I can go over and film this. But I do have to go to the last couple of articles I have, including the winner of the Dunce Cap of the Month. So we're going to do that now, and we're going to move it along pretty quickly here. This was actually sent to me by the person you heard off camera. He tagged me in it, and I knew it was going to be on the Dunce Cap of the Month show, and I just want to read this paragraph to you. This is from the Daily Wire, dated March 31st, but it's a little older than I normally put on the Dunce Cap of the Month, but it was so dumb I couldn't miss it. You're not going to want to either. Daily Wire, March 31st, 11:20 a.m. The United States, united I wish, the United States has slowed the spread of the coronavirus, but there's one scourge whose vitality is only increasing. Fake news. We will examine the most egregious examples it's talking about on his show. Then, in an effort to combat COVID, a Democratic mayor politely asked criminals to chill. Let's just stop robbing things. That's brilliant. I'm sure that'll work. And the New York jail releases a bunch of child molesters. Now, I understand that you have to let some people out. Let me ask you a question. Why didn't they let the person out of jail who was the recreational drug user who didn't bother anybody? Why did they pick child molesters? Why did they pick some of the most dangerous people in society to do this to? That is what the Dunce Cap of the Month Award is all about, friends. So you're going to want to question that one. Go ahead and look it up. And I got 2 left. Again, I'm moving along here because there's video I want to shoot, and I don't have the behind-the-scenes queen with me anymore, which sucks because, quite frankly, it would be very helpful. I don't have anybody doing this with me. So I've brought you video from Cleveland. I brought you video from the Akron protests, the Canton protests, the gentleman in my house with me. We all risked life and limb to film the shoe store because nothing says stop police brutality like finding a reason to steal a new pair of shoes on the backs of a dead man. I've been doing that for you. I'm going to keep up with it. This is real quick. I've got 2 left. This was just funny. It doesn't fit into the show at all, so I'm going to make it really quick. But people, if I get too serious, I like the silly stories. If I do too silly, then you should be more serious. About 200 goats roam the streets of East San Jose. This is NBC Bay Area. This is something you don't see every day, much less during a quarantine. A tribe of goats went wild Tuesday evening in the neighborhood in East San Jose. Terry Rowlands said the hill behind his home caught on fire about 15 years ago, and since then, they use goats a few times a year to clear the brush. Wise idea. On Tuesday evening, one of the goats was eating flowers over a fence and somehow got trapped in one of the electric fences, causing it to break. And of course, goats were everywhere. They look a lot like, they look as aimless as some of the protesters. And again, I say some of them because I just told you there were many to whom I supported. I supported them very much. One woman talked about how she was raped, and when they did the investigation, the police were asking her friends if she was promiscuous. I'm sorry, the last time I went to school, if a prostitute sleeps with 50 people and one guy she says no to and he doinks her, that's rape. So yeah, the police were wrong there. I'm not saying that every speaker was wrong. But anyway, all of a sudden they got into our driveway and it was very exciting to see, but I was a bit nervous. If you're nervous about goats, I can't wait to see how you're reacting during the riots. Anyway, about 200 goats escaped through the backyard, ran into the street. So look up the Twitter page of Zach Rowlands, ZACHROELANDS, for more on that. And that brings us, friends, to the Dunce Cap of the Month winner. This may get the Dunce Cap of the year. Now, here's one of the things that anger me, and I told you before that I was going to tie this in, even though it's on the other side of the world, into what I'm talking about. And I gave you the numbers, right? 40 unarmed people in 2019 were shot by police. 19 of them were white, 9 were black, 9 were Latino, and 9 were other. Do you know that cancer only affects black people? Guess what? It doesn't. Cancer affects everyone. Do you know what we have in Fukushima, Japan? We have an ongoing nuclear disaster. Alex Jones said you could define it scientifically as a tiny little neutron star that's burning its way into the earth in Japan. It's been going on since 2011. Thyroid cancer has spiked higher than the national debt. Not a word. This is going on. General Electric, who's supposed to bring good things to life, that's who TEPCO is. That's who owned the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. They were warned ahead of time not to open the nuclear power plant on the coast of Japan for the remarkable reason that Japan was made by an earthquake and will one day be taken out by an earthquake and tidal wave. The seismologists, the same ones who are warning now that the same thing's going to happen in Iran, and I've said for years that even if Iran was suddenly the beacon of peace and joy, that they couldn't build there because of the earthquake that's going to hit during the lifespan of the nuclear plant, which they want to build there. The same voices warned General Electric. TEPCO. They warned them about this. They didn't listen. They went after the good of the bottom dollar. They built the nuclear power plant on the coast of Japan, put up a 10-foot wall, 30-foot wall. They were hit by, what, a 100-foot wave. Exactly what was said. That is negligent homicide. Now, stay with me. A rogue cop kills one person, and we're burning down everything that we see. We're blocking streets. I'm right. The 12th and Fulton that my friend was just talking about is on the way to the hospital. One of the two major hospitals, but the only two real hospitals in Canton, Ohio. There's some in Massillon. I'm not going to split hairs. Yeah, going down towards, I have two friends here. Going down towards Tusk. Okay, so in Tusk is where the other hospital is off of. So we're blocked. This is why you can't just roam and protest anywhere you want. It's not that they're saying somehow that you don't have the right to protest. What they're saying is that you don't have the right to block traffic, taking people, that would be black people, that would be white people, to the hospital. So we have half of the country burning as I speak because one man was killed due to homicide. Meanwhile, General Electric built a nuclear power plant on the coastline of an earthquake zone. Thousands, if not millions of people will get heart disease, cancer. They will have bad immune systems. They'll catch every illness that comes down the pipe. People say, oh, I'm not that concerned about it. You die at some time anyway. Nuclear poisoning isn't like a bullet. You don't just die. You suffer and get sick for 30, 40 years, then you die. You get pregnant and wonder why your kid's missing an arm or has a growth or has autism or has whatever. Millions of people will be affected by this, and no one cares, including our Dunce Cap of the Month award winner, the First Circuit. Courthouse News. Courthouse Service News. Take two. Courthouse News Service. Gotta love live. First Circuit clears GE on Fukushima nuclear disaster. Protesters? No, freaking crickets. Boston, CN. General Electric will escape scot-free for its role in designing and maintaining and ignoring the scientists and the seismologists, I might add, the Fukushima nuclear power plant that was hit by a tsunami and caused billions of dollars in damage. The First Circuit ruled Friday. The court rejected, it goes on, a lawsuit brought by 150,000 Japanese individuals and their businesses who said they were economically devastated on March 11th when an earthquake unleashed a 40-foot high tidal wave and overwhelmed the plant. I said 100, I was wrong, causing an explosion and a massive release of radiation. Now, if you can't see how foolish this is, then maybe I'll be sending a dunce cap to you. Under Japanese law, all claims related to the disaster must be brought against TEPCO, short for the Tokyo Electric Power Company. Look it up, it's GE. It's just the Japanese arm. Either in a lawsuit or an administrative proceeding. TEPCO has already paid out $80 billion in claims. Yeah, because we know $80 billion is going to cure everybody's cancer. Partially subsidized by the Japanese government. Meanwhile, we don't have the technology to even get into the plant to see what's going on. And if that topples, if they have the fuel pools with the spent nuclear rods 3 stories in the sky, if that already rickety structure falls, some estimates have said that the northern hemisphere could be unlivable. Now, even if that's only, let's say they're lying by 80%, we're talking about 20% of the northern hemisphere due to the jet stream being in danger of being uninhabitable or extremely toxic to live in. No one cares. No rioting. Nothing. People will go out and buy General Electric, this, that, and the other, and never even think. They'll buy mutual funds that have General Electric in it, and they'll just keep on funding it. They'll just keep on subsidizing it. Blissfully unaware of any of this. The head federal judge, Massachusetts U.S. District Judge Patty Saris, dismissed the lawsuit in April 2019 on a forum of non-convened ground, saying the case could be brought in Japan because an adequate remedy for the plaintiff's injuries existed there. And as it has gone on, they have now completely found them non-liable. I don't know about you, but I saw somebody needlessly kill a black man on the street, and I'm seeing the cities burn. General Electric has poisoned how many? We're going to play the race card, fine. For reasons that we don't fully know, more African Americans than whites get certain kinds of cancer. Okay. So where's the outrage here? Well, friends, I do have some outrage on my end. Or you can just say it. What did you find? Security alert. We have received notice there is a hit list, including anyone in uniform. Stay alert. All Northeast sector staff respond to your office or contact immediately. Riot gear needed. This is what. It's on the hook by the microwave. So that's where my friend is going, by the way. So we got the city burning here. We've got riot gear. We got all this going on. And what do we have? What do we have? We have General Electric openly getting away with it. So let me go ahead and give you real quick here the dunce cap of the award that I'm going to show you. And also, of course, show you the hat and the award and everything that I always do. I simply have to find my own award because I don't know how to use my own computer. All right. All right. And here we go. Here's the hat. I'm going to start with that while I'm finding the rest of this here. I think I did pretty good on this hat. Again, not to go back to what I said earlier, I liked it more when I had help on the show, particularly the very talented help that I had. But you go, who was it? Rumsfeld said you go to war with the army that you have, not the army that you wish you had. So real quick here, let me go ahead and, yeah, there it is. Here's the award, DUNCE. Of course it says DUNCE. What else is it going to say? This is why people rightfully do not trust the courts. My other little cartoon here is a nuclear power chimney. It says TEPCO GE brings good things to life. And then this little cartoon guy here says, by good things, do you mean cancer, illness, and death? I'll make sure these people on low def can see it too. I'm very sorry about that. My bad. I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. And my last cartoon, I've got two more left. I'm sorry. This guy is saying, wait, so I run a person down while I'm drunk. I may get negligent homicide or involuntary manslaughter. But TEPCO does not for poisoning millions of people when warned not to open a nuke plant there. And of course, I drew an atom. It's not a very well drawn atom. It says the peaceful atom has killed millions, and the dolts in the First Circuit just ran cover for murder. Okay, and here we have the actual award. Now, if you want to see it, I don't have a printer yet, so here is what the award says. Again, if you want to see it, go to my Facebook page, Samuel DiGangi, DIGANGI. You can search the correct views. It's on Facebook. The actual dunce cap of the month award, if it will open, which I guess seems to be a rather big if, says, doom doo doo doom doo doo. Oh, come on. Don't you love live? You just gotta love live. It's coming. At least I think it's coming. Yep. I'm finishing up my show. Grab a seat. And I can't get this stuff. It's remarkable. So if it opens, how about this, friends? If it opens, I'll actually read to you what the award says. If not, I'll just post it on my page because my computer's giving me the spinny blue circle, and I do want to get to filming the chaos, which I think is down the street from my house.
It's like 15 cop cars down there and no one else.
Uh-huh. Well, I'll be Phil. I might have missed it, but that's okay. I missed it. I missed it for the show by doing the show, friends. So you really can't be too angry at me for that. Open. All right, here we go. Says the Dunce Camp of the Month award. TEPCO GE was warned that a tidal wave and earthquake of the magnitudes hit was going to happen during the life of the plant. They chose to build it anyhow. TEPCO, after putting the dollar above sound science, has now caused cancer rates to spike and has covered up the death. TEPCO has guaranteed cancer, heart disease, bone problems, and poor health for most of the northern hemisphere. For choosing to help them cover up and to hide from justice, you at the First Circuit Court are complicit in the crimes, and for that you win the Dunce Cap of the Month award. That is going to be sent to the court. So if you would like to help me pay for that to happen, I would greatly appreciate it, because mailing these damn things out are very expensive. You can donate at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com through PayPal. All the money you give to me goes towards a better show, and that is what I would like to bring you. So I hope I brought some insight and thought and reasoning into the debates this evening. I hope that you do put some of what I said to some serious thought. And if you want to leave comments that I'm racist or that I'm this or that, enjoy your First Amendment rights. You can call me the Easter Bunny if you want to. It doesn't really matter. But I do thank you for tuning in, friends. Good night. God bless.